There are people still trying to drive in this, I don't know why. I can see some of them with hazard lights on, they're idiots. Get off the road! Get into some shelter, you're gonna die on the road, you're gonna die! This is the sort of stuff the Australian Tourist Commission never wants you to see. You know, a summer storm in Sydney. Here's me trying to repair my roof and someone's decided I'm going to be something sort of fodder on TV. Go away! Or come and help me fix my roof! Go away! Wow, just crazy stuff.
It's time to tell the story about unfortunate event number 3. The first unfortunate event was when a young lad decided to drive his vehicle into a power pole at some speed. It brought down the power lines, it destroyed the internet for some 6 weeks, and it made for a very different dynamic over the Christmas holidays. Maybe the blessing in disguise there was my children couldn't access Fortnite, but we couldn't watch Netflix and I couldn't upload any videos to YouTube. At the time I was doing a series of videos in a lead up to Christmas that featured a naughty elf on the shelf that was stealing components from my garage.
What is this lunatic up to? Look what he's got on the table! They're my buddies, and he can't tell a real one from a fake one! This guy knows nothing!
There's about 4 videos that never made it to upload because of this car accident. These videos were really pre-Christmas videos. They would make no sense uploaded after Christmas. I did not hit the family up for loss of income because my income is derived online. I did buy one of those mini modems, but what we found was the cost of those is quite expensive. I think I uploaded one video via that and it was just outlandishly expensive to play YouTube. In the end, I took the loss on the chin. I just hope this young boy understands how lucky he is to be alive and that he's learnt a vital lesson in life in the responsibilities of controlling his vehicle in a safe and sober manner. Anyway, by the next day, I got a message in the morning from a friend saying more storms today. It was summertime. Summertime is a time of storms. And really, I thought nothing much of it until the afternoon came around. And sure enough, the predictions of more storms today came true. It started off with the tinkle tinkle of tiny hail. It started to ramp up to be larger hail. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, this is looking a little bit different. To get really large hailstones where I live is actually quite uncommon. But as we found out in this second unfortunate event, the really large hailstones just kept getting bigger and bigger, and the hailstorm lasted for about 10 minutes. And this hailstorm caught many people by surprise, especially the poor gentleman who was walking home from work past my house.
No way! No way will be someone come here! Come out of the storm! Oh my god, I can't believe he's walking this storm! It's a killer storm! Come back! Come back!
It was a crazy hailstorm. It's something I will never forget. And we went for a walk after the hailstorm to see what damage was about. And I noticed people getting up on their roofs, frantically trying to fix things. And I thought to myself, well, why are they doing this? Wouldn't it be dangerous on a slippery roof? It was very humid and hot. A lot of the moisture from the hailstorm was starting to burn off the road. People were sending me pictures of damaged cars. It looked pretty bad. And one lesson we learned there was, yes, take pictures of things after they are damaged, or else insurance companies will say you've put the dents into the car yourself. I was also getting messages about this other storm coming, and I could see just by looking in the sky, it wasn't looking very good at all. So we scampered back home, and that's where unfortunate event number 3 starts to kick in.
I'm starting to hear tinker tinker. I don't believe it if we're going to get another big hailstorm. It can't happen. You can't get 2 in a row. It has just been very, very freakish things that have been happening, and it certainly does look like this is going to be very nasty as well. I'm just worried about Fluffy. Fluffy, you better go back in under the bed. There's another big storm coming. Back in you go, 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 go. This is out the back. It is actually very dark. It's very cold. To me, that's ominous. I don't see the clouds moving that quickly, but there's a colour there that I don't quite like, and I don't know. It just seems like maybe the edge of a very bad storm. The storm's starting to creep a bit closer. There's flashes of lightning. And I've just been sent some pictures from friends, and I'm seeing hailstones that have penetrated windscreens of cars. It is just amazing. Amazing, but very, very scary, very ugly. I can still see people driving on the road. I'll be honest here, I would just find shelter and wait for all these storms to pass. That'd be my strategy in all this. There's the main direction that this storm is coming from, which is, I call it the normal storm direction. Lightning flashing, the time between the lightning and hearing it's still a bit of time, so it's still a little way off. It's still sounding angry, it's looking angry. There's flashes of lightning, I can hear birds in the trees there, they're probably freaking out. It is just one of these slow moving, menacing type summer storms. I sort of prefer them when they're a bit faster moving, because then you get a much briefer storm. With that hailstorm we had before, having 10 minutes of savage hail, it's not fun. There's no fun at all in that. The part that's worrying me most is that very, very darker patch that is lingering off to the west there. I just looked on the radar, that there is headed straight towards us.
Weather radar, it's a fantastic thing. Sydney has a great weather radar. There's also an app you can have on your phone to see the same data. I'll put a red circle in the part of town where I live. Now when I look back on that hailstorm and I can go forwards and backwards here, I can see it was like two storms that collided together right in the part of town where I live, and maybe that's why the hail became so savage there. And to decode this a bit for you, if you're seeing clumps of black, that usually means trouble. Now, the second storm that this video was about an hour later, and looking at the radar, it doesn't look that bad, but one thing I will say about it is this: it's a very large storm. In fact, it covers the whole of the Sydney area. So I'm pretty sure that we weren't the only people getting wet. This was a massive rain event.
This is looking very, very bad. It's got very dark. It's a horrible green colour to that. There has to be hail in that. There can't be anything else. It's getting very windy now. The wind's just starting to come in. And I'm going to try and do my best to see this. It's got extremely dark. I think that's a bit that's worried me. And that is starting to move at some speed. Hopefully it's going to come through very fast and move past us very fast. Just looking at the edge of the storm there, you get a bit of an idea of the speed it's moving, and we're getting that wind. But when I swing around here, it's like the darkness that you don't want to have happen is coming straight for us. It's bad! The wind's starting to pick up. Anyone who had damage from that first storm is only going to get heaps more damage from this one. I just got that feel about it. Here it comes! Here it comes! Okay, this is like tropical depression rain. It is just pelting down. It is coming in waves. It's extremely cold. It is extremely dark. Oh man, it is just horrible to watch, but there's also, something that's pulling me in towards it is just bad. Whoa, way, woo! There are people still trying to drive in this. I don't know why. I can see some of them with hazard lights on. They're idiots. Get off the road. Get into some shelter. You're going to die on the road. You're going to die. It is just so much water falling. Hopefully there's no hail in this. It is just one of those like completely crazy rain events. Okay, very windy, but it's very cold. The water is very cold. Wow. If anyone's got leaks in their roofs from that previous hailstorm, you're going to certainly know exactly where every leak is. This is the sort of stuff the Australian Tourist Commission never wants you to see. You know, a summer storm in Sydney. This is as good as it gets, yeah! It is just pelting down. The wind is very strong. I'd hate to think of the bill, the damage bill from this is just going up and up and up and up from the storms. I'm always thinking, like, what are the little birds doing in this? This is like, yeah, virtually tornado sort of stuff. Very, very strong winds. Very scary, a lot of rain. And thankfully I can see most people have stopped driving down the road. I mean, if you're trying to drive in this weather, you're just asking to have a major accident. Yeah, it looks like it's settled. Oh, there's still some idiots on the road. Get off the road! You're gonna cause a crash, you fool! So much rain. So much rain. Just totally crazy. The way the wind's starting to swirl around. Changing direction all the time. Okay, this is where it starts to get really weird. The wind is starting to go circular motion here. It's starting to swirl around. It's coming in from all different directions. So maybe this is getting near the center of this storm depression. It is just an unbelievable amount of rain. I'd hate to think how much has fallen. And it's been going on for about, it feels like about 10-15 minutes. Really, really bad rain. It just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. I'm just wondering whether you can see the waves of rain that come in. It's more evident on the ground. It's just totally flooding down there. Oh, crikeys, it is getting dark and there's still lightning about. Wow, what a rip terror of a storm. Amazing rainstorm. This is out the back and that very strange, like tropical depression rain still falling. It's getting a little bit lighter, which might be a good thing. Whoa! Before I talk too much saying it's getting better, it just gets a bit worse, doesn't it? Okay, it's starting to get lighter, the wind has backed right off, and if I look to the west there, because the sun's setting in the west, I can start to see it breaking up. I mean, thank goodness. Thank goodness, I'm sort of storm weary now. I've had enough of it today. We've got a major leak in our house, and I think down where I do toy reviews, it's been wrecked as well. And I've got a towel around me. I'm just trying to contain the water and keep it off me as much as possible. All this was shot on an iPhone 7, I think. Hopefully it likes water. Again, we're seeing the major flooding down here, stacks of water, and I will very dangerously sneak out here and just have a look at the gutter, because I like looking at gutters when it rains a lot. To me, it paints a nice picture of the amount of water that we've been having. Yeah, man, that is just go for it. Yeah, baby. Look at that there. Yeah. Torrents and torrents of water going right through there, all flooded through there. The rain's just about stopped. There's some fast-moving clouds going through there. Look, crikeys, I think that's over. That was bad. Just in our dining room here, I can see water coming into the house. Up there, if that makes any sense. It's all through here. I dare say there are other people who got far worse damage than this. And I had to put towels out here to try and contain the water damage. On the second storm, Fluffy ended up coming into my office chair. She loves this chair. She often will stay here all day. And it looks like she's getting up to move. She may need to go outside to do little things that cats do in the garden. I've totally lost count of the number of fire engines I've seen going down this road. I hope we've had the most of the storms now. Wow, and we're starting to clear. That's pointing like west out there, man. We are never going to forget this day for a very long time. That hailstorm was like I had never seen before, and I've got so many messages from people that I know about damage, cars written off, homes that are now flooded. Hail that's just completely penetrated through windscreens and stuff, man. Really bad. In fact, that fire engine has just pulled up down here. I'll just check out what's going on down here. Okay, this is it here. It doesn't look good. There's a police car there and a fire engine. I can hear another fire engine coming. Yeah. So, this has been very much the theme of this afternoon. Wow. Just crazy stuff. Crazy. It's the sort of storms that cause medical episodes. Crazy things happen when crazy weather hits. I just walked down a bit further. I know there's a house down here with lots of solar panels, and we can start to see just how much damage is done up there. Yes, I can see panels that have been penetrated by hail. There we go, across the road, and we can just see the damage up there on those solar panels. That's the sort of hail that takes it out. Really, really bad stuff, and there's going to be stacks of that sort of damage. There goes another one, just like the other ones. I can see television news crews over there. There's something that's happened here, and they're speaking to the people there. Yeah, and there's also something happening down here. There's the fire brigade people down here dealing with something. There I can see the news camera people there taking advantage to get some footage there of what's going on there. It is just disaster zone here. There's news camera crews here. This house has been shattered by the storm. There's people up on the roof there trying to do some form of repair. This is bad. Just look at the roof up there. There's basically a hole straight through the tiles, and this is across so many houses. It's not funny at all. This is really, really bad. There we go. Of course, it's been a disaster. We're getting all the news. Helicopters coming over the place now. Hello guys, how are ya? Yeah. Come down and help us fix up the mess. Well, this here's a vet sign that fell over in a previous storm, and it looks like the hail has completely destroyed it because it's just totally smashed it up. Goodbye vet sign. There was a scene of social chaos there, would be the best way I could say it. Unfortunately, in these sorts of events, sometimes people like to take advantage of the situation and possibly do something which is illegal. And I think that was the case that was going on there, and maybe it's best left set at that. Just stacks and stacks of people crawling up on roofs. Well, what we'll hear about is people having accidents on roofs. That'll be the next thing. Fire engines attending to lots of things, police attending to all sorts of things, and I've just got to get home and assess what damage that I've got. On top of the damage that would happen last night from the loon in the car. Man, what a day. A storm I'm not going to forget for a very, very long time. That's a nice sign. At least their Christmas lights are still working, but who else has got smashed up Christmas displays? I bet you there's tons of them.
I'm trying to get this upload to happen on the 20th of July 2019, and that would mark 7 months after that big hailstorm and the big rainstorm. Now, in this series of unfortunate events, we haven't even hit the 24-hour mark since the young boy smacked his car into the power pole. And once I came home to see the flooding that was going on in my garage, and also understanding the damage that was done to our roof, having no internet was the least of our worries.
Here's me trying to repair the roof, and someone's decided I'm going to be something sort of fodder on TV. Go away! Or come and help me fix my roof! Go away!
We were very lucky. The amount of water intake from our damaged roof wasn't that bad. Other people weren't so lucky. It was quite an insidious storm because the hail damage was unknown, but you find out how much damage you've got once you get a rainstorm. And some people had a lot of severely broken tiles, which let a lot of water into the house. And what happens there is, most times the ceilings will collapse under the water pressure. And the very sinister aspect to this is, when you look at the house from the street, all you may see is maybe a few broken tiles on the roof, but you can't see the devastation that's going on inside. If you know where to look in the suburb, there's lots of indicators to the hailstorm. Lots of pavements have been marked. Some areas are quite spectacular in the way they're marked. When I had a look at the curbside cleanup where people put rubbish out to be collected by the council, there was lots and lots of things that were damaged by hail. And I think that started to really paint a picture of how devastating the hail was, but I also noticed there was quite a few things on the rubbish piles of things that were damaged by water. There are also the homes in the suburb which are condemned. Often they had asbestos roofs. The hail came through, shattered the asbestos. The asbestos falls into the ceiling cavity. The ceiling cavity burst through once the water came in that second storm. Then the asbestos is all down amongst the furniture, maybe your clothing, your bedding. Basically your whole house is a write-off. And if you had a car in the garage with that asbestos roof and the asbestos has fallen down on the car, you may not have hail damage, but asbestos may have fallen into the plenum chamber where the air intake is just behind the hood. That car becomes a write-off as well. And while I'm thinking about cars, well, the hailstorm had turned your car into a golf ball. Often it smashed the sunroof and the back window of your car. And when that rainstorm came that we saw in this video, your car started to fill up with water. And I think one thing that I've learned is, let's say if your car is severely damaged by hail, and then it's maybe full of water as well, don't be the first person to rush off and get an assessment, because if the assessors see your car and it's been an unusual freak storm, they're going to basically say this looks like fraud. If you haven't taken photographs of the damage to your car by the hail immediately after the storm, you could be in for the fight of your life with the insurance company. Because as I've seen, these so-called, with my fingers in the air, hail dent experts don't know what they're looking at. Maybe one of the biggest disappointments to this whole storm is the way people have had repairs via their insurance company, and how there's been so many different variations on what's deemed a repair. And I think a classic example is, let's say between my house and my direct neighbour in the street, same style of house, same style of roof tiles, Same insurance company. Many things are very similar, and most importantly, it was the same storm. Yet, we've got two totally different outcomes where I've got a brand new roof, we've had all of our insides fixed up, all the metal's been replaced, yet my neighbour seems to be fighting for everything to be fixed properly. There seems to be a couple of key words and statements that building assessors come along and say. They might say, oh, this was caused by rising water. This is an unkept roof. This is previous damage. And for the fact you may have been paying this insurance company 30, 40, 50 years doesn't even seem to play into the equation when you require your home to be fixed in a proper way after the storm. So sure, this is a very delayed upload after that big rain event, which was just after the hailstorm. I'm sort of happy because I can tell more of a story about what's gone on after the storm. Parts of the suburb have been repaired, and it's a fairly slow process. It can take, let's say, a week to replace a roof, and it might take a couple of weeks to redo ceilings inside a home. And from the roofing people that I'm getting to know in the suburb, they're telling me they've got work which pushes well into 2020. And I think one of the biggest ticking time bombs on the roofs in the suburb where I live, that's the people who've accepted a patch repair, have still got parts of their old tile roof, and as the seasons wear on and cycle, the roof gets exposed to very hot temperatures during the summertime and very cold temperatures during the winter. Now, we had another big rain event come February 8. It was a massive rain event, a lot of wind, it was quite scary, and from that rain event we ended up getting more water into the house. It had me looking more closely at my roof tiles, and I started to see the very fine cracks that were appearing. And when I got my eyes into seeing where these cracks are, and for the fact that the hail's blown away the moss that was on the tiles, I could see my roof was in a fair bit of strife. And maybe I can finish the video off with what was a very comical moment with the estate manager of a building company that was dealing with my house repairs. And when we looked at these photographs of the tiles which had the crack in them, and the crack was very fine, the estate manager of this building company entertained this idea to me and said, "Leo, did you ever consider this? That when the hail has come down and struck your tile, it has blown the moss away and it has revealed a previous crack in the tile." And I think when I heard that, I started to understand, wow, I'm in the fight of my life to get a proper repair done to my home. But that's just talking about tiles. I said, what about the damage underneath the tiles where the sarking has fallen through because the water's come down through a bust tile and I can see there is wet insulation below that area. And miraculously, the storm damage assessors from this company turned a blind eye to that style of damage as well. But a story like mine can be told by many, many people in my suburb, and these are stories that should never have to be told. One thing that I did, and most people won't be able to pull this off, is I crawled up on my roof, I took some very detailed photographs of the damage, I went into the ceiling cavity between the roof and the ceiling, got some good photographs up there as well, and I put all this together as pictures on my laptop, and I was always prepared for when someone knocked at the door unannounced wanting to have a chat about the repairs to my home. And having that as a tool as part of my argument was a great thing to have. So the estate manager who I had the run-in with in my home, when I got him out of my home, I rang up my insurance company. I said to them, I never want to see this person at my property again. My insurance company listened to me. They banned this nutcase estate manager from my home, and they gave me an option to swap out to another building company, but I stuck with them through other staff because I didn't want to go back to square one. And the strangest thing happened after that time. All of a sudden, I was treated like royalty. All of a sudden, things were being fixed properly. But it's a sort of fight that nobody ever deserves to be put through, especially if you've been with an insurance company for many, many years.
Holy mackerel! Oh my god, they found people stopping! Oh man, this is really bad! This is really bad!